He was one of America's most chilling serial killers, a name that still sends shivers down our collective spine. Jeffrey Dahmer didn't just murder, he lured, he drugged, he violated, he dismembered, and he consumed. His apartment was not a home, but a horror museum. Skulls lined the shelves, human torsos in acid-filled barrels, and Polaroids of victims posed like twisted dolls of death. When he finally was caught, the crime scene was so disturbing that seasoned detectives couldn't forget what they saw. Dahmer was killed in prison in 1994, but somehow he's back. Not in life, but in legacy. Reignited by the viral Netflix series Monsters, the Jeffrey Dahmer story. In the decades since his death, Dahmer has become more than a criminal. He's become a cultural fixation. His name trends on TikTok. His face stares back from Halloween costumes. His stories recreated, rewatched, and reimagined. YouTube essays like this one dissect his psyche. As he sells his mugshot on coffee mugs, there are playlists, memes, even fanfiction. But what does this mean when horror becomes entertainment? When a man committed unspeakable crimes becomes merch? And more importantly, why do some monsters become so infamous while others vanish into silence? While Dahmer became a media obsession, there was another man whose crimes were far more numerous and yet whose name was barely remembered. His name was Samuel Little. The FBI had called him the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history. He confessed to 93 murders. Most of his victims were Black women, many were poor, sex workers, or battling addiction. He targeted the forgotten, and in turn, he was forgotten too. No Netflix deal, no podcast in his name, no costumes, no documentaries, just silence until now. Why did Little receive so little attention compared to Dahmer? Was it the brutality of the crimes? The body count? No, it wasn't that. It was who he targeted. Women society already ignored. Dahmer was sensationalized, serialized, and sold. Little was hidden in the shadows. This isn't just about fame. It's about whose lives we consider worth remembering. Dahmer's victims were often white young men, people with families and futures. The media and the public mourned. Little's victims were Black women, often impoverished, sometimes criminalized themselves. The media barely blinked.
Track?
I lost track.
Yeah.
I count by states.
Do you think there's more out there that you kind of forgot about, or do you think that this is
No, I ain't got none.
Are any bodies buried anywhere?
That didn't waste no time. Give the bodies.
These women had names, stories, people who loved them. Little didn't remember their names. He remembered their faces, their weights, their heights. So he drew them.
How many people do you think you can draw on their face?
I can draw from memory.
These are the portraits drawn by Samuel Little himself. They're the women he claims to have killed. They're so accurate that family members have recognized lost loved ones from them. The disappearance of most of these women went unnoticed for years. Samuel Little claims to have killed across 19 states in total. He targeted vulnerable women that no one else was paying attention to, most of whom were prostitutes.
These drawings are now being used to identify the victims he left behind, some still nameless, decades later. Samuel Little's case raises the question that goes beyond crime. It challenges our memory, our media, and our priorities. We treat true crime like entertainment. We binge it, we cosplay it, we meme it, but this isn't fiction. These were real people, and some of them never even made it to the news. I made this video because I kept seeing Dahmer everywhere. Clips, edits, reenactments. My whole entire TikTok feed was filled with him. Twitter threads, or X now, analyzing his psychology like he's a character to study. But I had to search, and dig to find out who Samuel Little was and the horrible things that he did to women. The most prolific serial killer in history was lost, forgotten, and left invisible. And I think that says something, not just about our fascination with serial killers, but about who we remember and who we erase. Our collective memory is selective, and it often forgets the marginalized. Studies show that crimes involving white victims, especially white women, receive far more media coverage. Those stories are framed as tragedies. When the victim is a black, poor, battling addiction, or a sex worker, the coverage fades, if it comes at all. For crying out loud, isn't this so obvious? The most famous movie murder scene is of a white woman. This is called missing white woman syndrome. And Deanne King from CBS will talk more about this.
Hey, good morning. So missing white woman syndrome is the idea that white women get way more news coverage than minorities who disappear. I spoke to an expert who proved this does exist, and parents of missing children who feel their child isn't getting Gabby Petito coverage due to the color of their skin.
Breaking news.
Back towards the case of Gabby Petito.
Her name has been heard around the world.
You know, she disappeared, 3 weeks ago? And they had the whole nation, FBI, everybody involved. Us, nothing.
But Fidencio Minjarez says his daughter, Veronica Reyes Diaz, was forgotten days after her disappearance.
She's about the same age as Gabby. I mean, when she disappeared, she was 24. Wow. 23, 24. I mean, so why is her life more important than my daughter's? Why? Because my daughter's Hispanic, because she's brown? I mean, that should play a factor.
A mother of three, Veronica has been missing since January 2020. Hillsborough County Sheriff deputies say her car was still home with keys, purse, and wallet inside.
Like I told you, I believe from the get-go they dropped the ball.
Minjarez says investigators canceled the search for his daughter 2 days after she disappeared. So for the past year, he's taken matters into his own hands.
No one deserves to be forgotten. No one deserves for the police to stop looking for them and for them to be overlooked. And this is a serious matter, and that's why I'm raising awareness to it. I made this because I think who we remember matters, because every name forgotten is a story never told, and because we have to do better about who we care about and when we talk about justice. If this made you think, share it, please. Talk about it, because justice doesn't end with a verdict. It ends with a memory. It ends with us as a collective. Thank you.